week we learned to follow Jesus' example and serve like it's your job. So how was your serving last week? Well, tonight I want to challenge you with one thing further, and that is to love and serve your enemies. How do we do that? Well, before we start, you need to remember one important truth about our God, and that is He is better at everything compared to us. He is better at loving other people than us, better at forgiving other people than us. And He simply knows the best way to do things in all situations. Listen to Isaiah 55 verse 9. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. In here, we learned that God's way of doing things is better than our way of doing things. So tonight we need to learn from God how to love those people who are difficult. Now, you can think of someone who's difficult in your life, right? Someone who has not always been very nice to you. Well, don't mention any names. But it's natural to feel that if someone's unkind to us, we need to be unkind back to them. Sometimes we may even say bad things about them, or even secretly wish that something unpleasant would happen to them. But the verse we read just now teaches us that we need to trade our way for God's highway. We need to learn to do things that God calls are the better ways of doing things. Trade your way, trade my way for the highway. Jesus teaches us in Luke chapter 6 verse 27, "But I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you." Jesus talks about two groups of people, your enemies and those who hate you, or we can think of them as the unkind people in our lives. And He says, love them, do good to them. Love means that you love that person so much that you're willing to give of yourself in order to meet their needs and to help them out and serve them whenever you can. You may ask, well, why do I even want to do that? They hurt me. Listen to what Jesus teaches us in verse 35 and 36 of that chapter. "And you will be sons of the Most High, for He is kind to the unthankful and evil. Therefore be merciful, just as your Father also is merciful." Jesus gave us two reasons. One, we are part of God's family, and we want to represent God to other people. So we want to show others God's love for them. The second reason is that God has been so merciful to us. He didn't punish us just because we deserved it, and He still loves us even though we sin against Him often. Therefore, we can show kindness and show God's mercy to other people and still love and serve those who hurt us because God has done so much for us. Now, one important thing to remember is that just because you decide to obey God and be kind to other people, it doesn't mean that they'll be kind back to you. You know, if they're kind back to you, hooray and celebrate. But if they still choose to be unkind, just keep loving them anyway. Pray that God would give you more love for them and give you the strength to serve them. Remember, we're not doing any of these kindness to people just for them to be kind back to us. We're doing it because we want to show them God's character and because God tells us to love those people who are difficult. So the next time, if someone says something that's unkind to you, naturally we would want to say something unkind back. But how can you trade your way for the highway? Well, you could say something kind back, or you could simply keep quiet and not say anything at all. Remember, trade my way for the highway. What if someone hits you? Well, naturally, I just want to hit them back, right? How can we trade our way for the highway? Well, definitely don't hit them back. And if possible, show them a kind gesture, like a handshake or a pat on the back. What if someone takes something away from you? Hey, that's mine, give it back. That's what we want to do. But how can we trade our way for God's highway. Well, we can lend that something to that person, or we can even give that something to that person. I know none of these things may be that easy to do, but we need to learn to trade our way for the highway. And we need to love and serve those who are difficult in our lives. We've talked a lot about trading tonight, haven't we? So do you have some trading to do though? Can you think of someone whom you have been unkind to? Maybe the first step you need to do is to ask that person for forgiveness. Another helpful thing to do is to prepare for hurtful situations. Decide ahead of time that you are going to love and serve those people who hurt you. Remember, boys and girls, trade my way for the highway and love and serve our enemies. Bye!